so it's making everything really bright. I'm just going to bring it to 25, because that seems good to me. The glow radius, this depicts how far the glow is from the object. And I want these to be intense, so I'm going to put it to 3. And the glow intensity, that's how intense it glows. You know, I'm really okay with 1, so I'm just going to leave it at 1. See how that looks. It brought out the particles a bit, but I'm actually starting to think that the add is a little weird, so I'm going to change it back to screen. So now we can just see our particles in the jar a little better. Not horribly better, mind you, but a little better. I can also tell that some particles are going outside the jar, and I don't like that, so I'm going to press MM again. And see how it says mask expansion? I'm just going to choke the mask expansion a little bit, make it a little bit smaller. So make sure all my particles are still inside the jar and only stay inside the jar. Because that's the entire point. And alright, that's looking okay, decent. Because I'm using a different particle stock footage, it does look different than the original, but it's okay because we're changing things. Alright. So, last thing we're going to do to the particles is the same thing we did to the spore. Let's make it look like it's inside the jar. So instead of, going to the effects and, just redoing this entire displacement map, let's just copy the displacement map. Go to File, or Edit, Copy, then go to the particles, and go Edit, Paste. And look at that. Now we have that exact same effect on this particles. The only difference is we just need to make sure that it's still set to the original footage, and it is. So you can't really see it, but it's just a small thing to make this entire effect look, viable. Alright, so we have this, but let's just go a little farther and finish the entire thing off by giving it some color correction and whatnot. So I'm going to go to Layer, New Adjustment Layer. Now, adjustment layer is a layer that 2 doesn't really exist. It does, but all it does is it's a layer to put effects on. So whatever I do to this layer, the effects will be duplicated below. So instead of just changing the color for the footage, I want to change it for the entire scene. So what I want to do is go to Color Correction, Curves. Actually, no, not curves. I'm going to go to, first as Hue and Saturation, which is here. Because I just want to bring down the saturation a bit. I'm going to bring it down to maybe 35, this number, and it just kind of saturates everything, takes the color out. Then I'm going to go to Color Correction again and click Curves. Now here, I'm just going to play with the, curves just to get kind of this dark, ominous feel. Now, this is, if you add another curve, it's called a, this is a contrast curve. I'm bringing out some contrast. Not too much, but just a little bit. The more contrast you bring out, though, the colors kind of intensify again, which is why I may even lower this to 50. Just to, yeah, that looks a little better. Now, I'm also going to go into the green channel, kind of boost it up just a bit, and then give it a curve adjustment too. Maybe actually drag it down and give it a curve adjustment. Whatever you want to do, just do it. Make it look nice, whatnot. Right now, that looks fine. I'm just playing around with the colors, seeing what I can get. Maybe go to the red channel, bump the red channel down to make it just a little more cold. Go to the blue channel, put more blues back into this. Now it's not exactly the same as our original, but it's pretty interesting. Now I'm going to add another adjustment layer. Now you see this, usually it's set to rectangle, just hold and click. Now these are like the pen tool, but they're presets. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to double click the circle, and what that does is it makes a perfect oval in my composition. So from there I'm going to Effect, Color Correction, Curves, and what I'm going to do, not Equalizer, we're not going for Equalizer, we don't want to equalize this today, So go to color correction, curves, and I'm just gonna bring this way down. Maybe not way down, but pretty down. And then press MM, and you see how it says add there? Change add to subtract. Now, feather the edges, and we get kind of that old school look, vintage look, where the outside is dark. This may be a little too strong, and if it is, instead of making it lighter in here, which we could make it lighter, I'm just going to go to the opacity by pressing T and bringing it down a bit. Just a bit. And there you have it. If we... Oh, wait, there's the last thing. The last thing we need to do to this comp is let's turn on the motion blur. Now, motion blur is great. What we need to do is we need to turn the motion blur on for the particles, which is right here, and the spore. Then turn the motion blur on for the composition. And then, if we render this, everything kind of works together. So I'm just waiting for it to render, but that's pretty much all you do in this tutorial, or to make this effect, the spore and jar kind of effect. And remember, you can do so much with just this idea. You can have just the spore in your hand. You could keyframe the camera to rotate around the spore because it's a 3D effect. It's great. Also, the particles, all the different things you can do with just these stock particles from Video Copilot is quite amazing. I'm not going to render all of it because I don't want to bore you, but right there, that's pretty decent. So you can see that what we're getting is really nice. So you're asking me, hey, you said you had a surprise. Well, I did. Let's say you don't have particular, and you wanted to do something different or something else with just this footage. There's a numerous amount of things you can do with footage like this. Another example I have is this one. Oh, see how cool that is? Or no, this one. Yeah. Oh, wait, no. Yeah, it's this one. See, look how awesome this is. What I did in this clip is I just was using Blender, and it's a water simulation in a 3D eyeball. Now, the eyeball is red because the idea came from an anime series called Naruto. So, if you guys know what that is, you're cool. If not, look it up. But it's pretty much just this eyeball in this glass jar. So if I click play, we see how I've just changed some things. The idea of tracking is the same, but here it is. Here's full quality. But you see how it's just, you can do so many different things with this. I'll quickly just show you what I did for this. So let's turn some things off so I can show you exactly what I did. Let's go back to the original composition. Now, I have this eyeball footage. Now, if we press MM again, and I'm just going to click none, it was just some stock footage that I created in Blender, which is a 3D simulation, 3D program, and it's not perfect. It really isn't. The water is actually a very low simulation, and I would show you how to do this in Blender, but that would take a long time. So I just want to show you guys the basics. But yeah, we have that, and go to MM again, and I just put a mask on it like we did the particles, and then I set it to add and whatnot. I feathered it 5, and then I took the same null object, which I have right here, you can see, and I just parented it to the null object and did the exact same thing. After that, because you have this right here, I pre-composed all of this, and to pre-compose, you just click everything and go to composition, pre-compose. It's already pre-composed, so I can't pre-compose it. Right, well, I can, but no, go to layer, pre-compose. And what that does is it creates, if you go back to this composition, a composition with everything in it. So that last composition you saw was this strip down here. Since I had the motion blur and everything on, after this I just tweaked around with the colors, and I made it a little more green, as you can see in this clip. Then I added that vintage look again to make it all scary. And then the last thing I did, just to give it a little more wow, is I added another adjustment layer, and I added this cool, awesome effect called Twitch, which is another Video Copilot effect. You can get it off of their site. It's $40. If that's too expensive, I say the best way to get it would be to convince your grandparents that you're dying, or your parents, depending how old you are. It doesn't really matter. Convince someone that you're dying, your spouse. Say, hey, wife, I'm dying. You need to buy this for me. Works every time. And this is just a really cool effect to make, some random Twitch-like substances in your video. And it really just brings out, the creepiness of the video. It really depends on what you're doing. But this is just an example of how, the idea is the same, but it's just what you do with it. You can do very many things, very, very different many things. Okay, well that's it for my first tutorial. It may be long, I may have stuttered a lot. This was really kind of just thrown out there, but I hope you guys like it. You can download the project file. Try to create this effect from my project file, and then send me a video response. Tell me what you think. Give me your comments and questions. Besides that, awesome. This has been Strider Moore for myself, showing you another amazing After Effects tutorial. Well, not another, my first one. But, yeah.